Hello everyone. Our session for this time is Squad Goals, how to build out your first moderator team. And with me is Shana Summers. She will be helping you find the right moderators for your community. So are you getting ready for your community launch or are you handing over the reins? Either way, it's time for you to build your moderation team. So from recruitment and training to setting the guidelines and perks, this talk and Shan Wayne will help you get started and get a tune up for a moderator team revamp. So let's welcome to the stage Jana Summers.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and get my for everyone and everybody that's over here. Hi, Lauren. So excited. Joy, thank you so much. That's a nice compliment. Hi, Leah. How's everybody? Everybody doing good today? I'm so excited. We're going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about all the community moderator stuff. So as mentioned, I am Shana. I am currently the head of community for the Her app. Her is the largest app for LGBTQ plus women, trans, and non-binary folks to date and drive community. So today we're going to talk about basically building your ultimate squad, which is your moderator team. So to give you some background on my journey at Her, it has definitely been quite the adventure that I've taken through. I think I have tested almost every model possible, every background, every situation that could go down with your moderator team. Our community moderators at Her work to remove content that basically breaks community guidelines. We have lots of like fake and romance scammers that are in the app. And most recently, we have changed their focus into driving quality conversation within the app. Now, I say all of this, and what that really means is that they have to stop people from being so thirsty that they want the attention but won't say anything to anyone. They also have to remove a lot of nudity and a lot of fake accounts. And somehow still at the end of the day feel motivated to hop on a call with me like once a month, continue to talk to our other moderators regularly, and do all of this just on their own time and without pay. So I mean this from the bottom of my heart when I say that I love our moderator program and I'm so proud of what it has become. I have switched ways in so many directions and our moderators have been there throughout. I've had moderators with me for 3+ years now. And anytime I bring up a change, they're just ready to do it. And that is how I know I've done something well. So I have to say that all of this came with trial and error, and I'm hoping that my error becomes your success. So let's talk about our first steps. So moderator programs can do so many things. Depending on the focus for your community, it can be focused around removing content. It can be similar to ambassadors as they help provide answers to questions, or just are there to help drive a healthy environment to your platform. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg of what your moderator's potential is. You could easily flow into any of these things and kind of get lost if you don't first figure out your why for your moderator program. So you on a daily basis probably don't like doing tasks without a reason. Neither will your unpaid volunteer moderators. The reasons I have listed up here are great business places to think about how the moderator program will benefit and the ways that your moderators will also feel a sense of ownership and leadership within the community. So these 4 whys of directly connecting to your valued member, taking tasks off the company's plate, maintaining community standards, and as I've mentioned, the sense of ownership are all great things that you can present to your leadership team with some bullet points. So for example, stating how they are a direct connect to valued members means we automatically have a group of people that we can test out ideas with, that we can provide a sneak peek of a new product or project that we're working on, and they can give us candid feedback. Or with maintaining community standards, it means that we have a group of people that now know the community as well, if not better than you as the person who's running community, which I think is one of the best things to have because they're actively in there all the time. And sometimes we have to get stuck with the admin work. So having this team of people who can give you honest feedback, information, just to help you maintain a pulse is great to have. So now that you've established your why, you'll have to actually define what makes a moderator. This can be presented to both the internal team so that your coworkers understand the moderator's why, and then you can share to people who are interested in becoming a moderator so that they can understand the mindset and what their goals are for becoming a moderator. These here are what I share with all of our potential moderators and consistently refer back to it as what makes a her moderator, and that these are the standards that they should live up to and the values that they have within the community. Our moderators are here to drive engagement, and we want them to show all of these steps within the space. Now that everyone has been communicated with about what makes a moderator, let's start to build out this program. Now, I don't want you to feel stressed. For those who are getting ready to launch, even for those who are getting ready to potentially pivot, and this could be like your 8th pivot. I pivoted a lot, so don't feel bad. Just think back to friends. They got through it and pivoted. You can do it too. So don't stress. Change is good, and you may have to do it once or twice. But to hopefully decrease the steps, here's my simplified checklist of what you need to prepare for your future moderators. So the first thing you're looking for is interest documents. This is for when you have to go out and recruit and you don't want to have to repeat yourself over and over and over again. Having those documents ready and to be easily sent out will save you so much time. Characteristics that you're looking for in a moderator. This will help you narrow down your search and allow other people to help you in your search as well. You're thinking of what type of people you're looking for. It's almost like creating another level of your community of personas, especially because not all of your moderators are going to be these super outgoing people that want to start conversation and do all this stuff. That's not everyone. Some of them are introverts, some of them are reformed introverts, some of them are super extroverts. You want to have a range of the type of things that you're looking for, and we'll kind of deep dive into that in a couple slides. And so you have these first details. Now you can put that together within your interview questions and begin to plan your onboarding process to guarantee their success. And lastly, you want to pick the data that you want to have available so you can better hold your moderators accountable. Again, I'll be deep diving into that in a bit too. But having data ready shows where your moderators are thriving and where they may need more assistance. And the last thing that I will admit that I was late to the party on was to create a resource page that hopefully answers most of their questions moving forward. So they don't have to come to you all the time looking for answers. I became the person that they came to all the time, and I was like, please stop. How do I do this? And we all love a good self-service system, right? So make sure to build out that space. To talk a bit more about the interest document, I have a simple 5-slide deck that shows the definition of what a moderator is, and that's what we just discussed, what the role entails, a broken down list of actions, just in case they didn't understand what the role entailed, and an estimated time commitment. And at the end of it, then I'll finish out with an easy, accessible space for them to apply or to reach out to me for any follow-up questions. This will keep your future recruitment efforts to an easily accessible space. And again, you don't have to repeat yourself. That's a wonderful thing. For moderator characteristics, I wanted to show you another quick list of what moderator characteristics look like. It truly does not have to be a long list. You kind of want it to be like an umbrella that will catch multiple personalities, but you know that this is the key value that you want. You want it to be a quick look, because if you have this whole overrunning, nobody's going to look at it and you're just going to get all these random people. It's not fun. So these are the characteristics that I share with my moderators. And since switching back to this quick glance model, I've had more moderators identify and bring in great people that are joining the team and staying for a long period of time. So speaking of joining the team, we got to recruit. You've done all of this work. You've prepped. You've gotten some documents in. It's time to build out your squad. Most people would just say, go ahead and just ask your community. But that sometimes sets you up for biting off more than you can chew. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to highly suggest that you don't just put out a specific thing, especially if you have a big community. Our community has about 5 million, no, 6, we just hit 6 million people worldwide, but I have around 80 to 120,000 active users per day. So when I put that initial call out, I got between 500 to 800 applicants, and then I had to weed through all the fake ones and all the jokesters and the blank ones and people who didn't finish it. It takes so much of your time. And I did it where I grew it quickly from 18 people to 75 people in less than a month. My mental health was not great, so I want to try and make sure that we save your mental health. So here I'm going to say that the next main task is figuring out where you even want to find people. I don't want you to have to go through what I did with building out a program. Again, mental health awareness day is this weekend, so you want to pay attention to that. So pick specific spaces within your community. This can mean dropping in some DMs, sending out a specific email based off of your users, or a push notification if your community lives in app. If you're lucky enough to have a team already, get them to point out their favorite people within the community. So many options that will then allow for you to have a continuous recruitment flow for future people. But if you want to start quick, make a post, drive attention to it, and then make sure that you have a backup. Let's make sure you have some backup that's going on. And the interview process does not need to be long at all. I'm a huge believer that you can figure out if the person is a great fit within the first 5 minutes, and the rest is just a precaution. I spend the first couple of minutes taking them through what my role is, ask them about themselves, what their motivation is to join the program. Their motivation, which will probably be your tell-all, because if it's not a community-facing response, if it's not trying to give back or empathy or anything like that, you know that this person is not going to be valuable for it. So keep it short and sweet, be efficient enough to figure them out. And it won't always be perfect, but 60% of the time, it works every time. And if you can name that movie, I'm going to give you a virtual high five in the chats. I see y'all going. Once you send out an acceptance for the person, Kelsey got it, Leah got it. Once you have accepted them into the program, send them an email that requests their details. The things that I asked are their name and preferred name, pronouns, when their birthday is so that we can celebrate it, an address so that we can send them surprise stuff, what their t-shirt size is so I don't ruin the surprise when I send them stuff, and things like that. So you want to have stuff that you can take action on, not just random things to just ask them for. Once they send you these details, then send out their onboarding information. And only once they have gone through that, show them the moderator space and the resources that they can refer to during their time as a moderator. All right, onboarding and accountability. During onboarding, there is a lot of information that you want to share. So you need to keep it interesting and somehow make sure that you can trust the person to actually go through all of the information. So here are some of my tips and tricks that I've implemented during our onboarding. Our process used to be really long, filled with multiple trainings that never fit in everyone's time zone. So then I had to trust that they were going to watch the recordings and do all this. It just caused a headache. So instead, I set a time frame that showed the biggest success rate I've seen with our moderators. For us, it's about a week. If I can get them through everything within a week and at max a week and a half, works, and they're more likely to stay. I have mixed media to keep them involved. So I have an equal amount of reading as I do watching. And then I have them take a short 3 to 5 question quiz that I just send via email. So it's nothing fancy. You could totally do a type form if you wanted. And once they send it back, I know that they haven't done it if they just copy and paste the answers. It's not going to work. So make sure that all of that information they went through during onboarding as well is visible afterward. So I'm going to show you what it looks like at the top of my moderator group. This is also similar to like what's at the top of a CMX group and things like that. My moderators live in our Facebook group because we currently don't have the tools that Facebook has within our app. So I keep them there, but at the top of our moderator group, these are the graphics that I have pinned at the top, ready and available for each of our people. So this has a link to everything they need to know. They're welcome, what to do at any stage of their moderator program, if they've just started, if they want to be a leader. And the caption in each of these, or the description of the photo, have different links that they will need. And you can build out a system that is always in front of them. Because if it's not in front of them, I can tell them to go to Notion, but they're not going to. But if I tell them to go here, then they can actively go to the spaces where I've created these resources. And for accountability, you want to have this type of data available to you. Obviously, this is going to look different for every company, but this list is some that I have so that I know if a moderator is not getting time in, so that I can celebrate the ones that are actually like going in and putting time in. And if there are areas where like all of my moderators are underperforming, I know that like if that number is low, then I need to train them. Also, friendly competition sometimes never hurts. Sometimes I'll announce like the top 3 people who have done specific actions so that the moderators can see the impact they're making and they know who to turn to as leaders within the community. So giving those shout outs are automatically there. And being able to have this just available on a graph is also super helpful. So our resources, so you want to make this, again, self-serve, easily available, and will save you a ton of time in the future. My favorite new phrase that I say to our moderators is have you check Notion. The first thing that I create for our moderators are moderator guidelines. They're my favorite. They're used in a way that is separate but equal to community guidelines. And this also continues the accountability and having your moderators be aware of the expectations to hold within the community. In your guidelines, you want to have a clear space for their responsibilities, why we have them, and how to engage appropriately within the moderator group. And you saw my graphic that said house rules. That's what I meant for inside of our Facebook group and how they engage with each other. It's not just about how they engage in the community, because that's their community space too. So simple thing to let them know, again, hold accountability, things like that. And then we have tools, because moderators can't really accomplish many of these tasks that we put in front of them without having some tools to do it. This involves a decent amount of trust, but this also why you have data available to hold them accountable. Because if you sit and see one person suspend like 800 people in a day, and you're just like, what is happening? So this also helps you to be able to do it. This is an example of the tools that our moderators have, and they have them available in app. So as they're maneuvering through and looking at content, they're able to take action swiftly. And lastly, this is just a partial screenshot of what our resource page, aka moderator page, looks like for our moderators to refer to. There are lots of examples available. Inside each of these are another subtasks that have pictures and videos and examples and things that look good, things that don't look good, what to do, what not to do. We want them to feel confident in every scenario that they're going to. So yes, and then finally, the best thing that you want to be sure to share with your moderators that isn't just swag is our perks. So perks, there are many other things that you can provide, and then the swag can come later. I want to give a shout out to Erica Moss from Atlassian, as when I was looking to figure out other perks for my moderators, she was the first person that I reached out to and gave a majority of this list to me. So I want to give a shout out to her. And just to remind you that perks don't always need to be tangible. This is like a sub-community of your whole community that you're building. Remember our whys that we discussed. Many of these can tie into that, but also how are we going to help our moderator team grow? They're helping our community grow. We need to help them grow in the same light. We also need to celebrate them. So even if it's just something as simple as celebrating their birthday, celebrating the behaviors that they're doing, but don't settle at that. We want to give them a ton of praise and gratefulness, because they are literally taking away work that you could be paying a lot of money out of your budget for. So make sure that you are always celebrating them. And finally, you need to also go ahead and plan your offboarding process too. This will stop the panic for when you have the first person that says they aren't interested, or you see that a few moderators aren't active. This provides you with clear-cut steps that you can share with your moderators so that they don't just ghost you when it comes to the community. And it happens a lot. So if you're able to give them a simple, quick survey so that you know what improvements to make in the future, what steps they need to take to let you know that they want to leave, and then a reminder checklist, because it just helps. It helps in life to have set places that they have access to so you can quickly remove them. So if it's from, just checklist of Facebook group, Notion, this, and you know where to go and are set to offboard them. Now, that was a lot of information. I just talked through a lot of things just to say that you're all ready for squad goals. If you've never been to one of my talks before, I always put a Beyonce reference, as well as where my shirt is, where it says work ethic Beyonce, because I'm a Beyonce stan. But as I mentioned, I have gone round and round with our moderator program, small numbers, big numbers, in between, different systems, places to gather, how much I spoke to them, how little I spoke to them, what boundaries I had, what rewards I gave. And so I hope that this bit of information has helped you, or at least given you a light bulb into what you can do when you are launching your moderator program or transitioning. And I think I just got right on time to be sure that I could answer questions, because I knew I was going to kind of fly through this. So I'm ready. I saw the chat lighting up, and I am excited to answer in all of this. So yes.
All right, thank you, Shana, for sharing a very insightful presentation. Well, some of the attendees here are saying that you were the most favorite speaker from the and I can truly attest to that. In a very short period of time, you have given us so much value. Okay, let's go over to the question. Kate Fish has two questions. One question, what community spaces does her app exist on? And
Mhm.
the second question she has is, do you do one-on-one interviews or group interviews?
Yeah, so all of our moderator space is in-app and it's native in-app. So anything that we have to do, we build it in there. And then I just have the team on a Facebook group to communicate with them and talk to them and answer their questions. And then for the second one, oh my gosh, I had it and then I felt very confident answering it. What was the second question?
If you're doing one-on-one interviews or group interviews?
Yeah, so I do one-on-one interviews. I've tried group interviews before, but doing them virtually as well is kind of difficult. So I like to take the time to do one-on-one ones.
And another question from Joy Converse, how would you advise making a distinction between moderators who are company employees or those who are paid versus moderators from community members beyond permission levels?
Yeah, so we have actually had both paid moderation and volunteer moderators. Our paid moderators had a very specific role, and it was just literally to like work in the background and remove content that was like could have potentially gotten us kicked out of the App Store type thing. And so that was their specific role, and our volunteer moderators had a more face forward role. And so when they were going in, we were like, hey, you are driving the value within our community. You are talking to people, you're posting updates, you're driving conversations. So each of them had two very separate roles. Any of our paid moderators, like I leave them out of the like engagement scene, but that's just how I do it. So yeah, so that's kind of how we broke that up. But also our background moderator team also worked in our support side as well. So they were doing tickets and things like that. So that fell under that bubble. So that's how we organized it.
Thank you. And Oliver Byrne wants to ask you for examples of how your moderators support each other.
Yeah. Oh, they're great. So a lot of them are in like side messages that I don't even know about. Like all of them talk to each other. The moderators that are within their own community, like they know about who they're dating. They know celebration of their kids. They know about birthdays. They know about graduations. They are all very invested. We do this thing within our Facebook group called Penguin Shoutouts. If you ever do this on Slack with the add-on tacos, it's basically like you go and like send an emoji and then celebrate them. So we encourage our moderators within the Facebook group to shout out their wins, talk about what's happening in life. They will update if like something is going wrong as well. And they're like, hey, I've just had surgery. Hey, I need a mental health day, things like that. And they'll mention it in the group and everybody is hella supportive and loves to give that love back to them. So yeah, that's kind of, that's within our culture that we have set for them.
I love that. That's very intimate. Great.
They're great. Yeah. It's weird to think like I could look back and just be like, I'll go in and ask them about day-to-day life and like they're my friends that hang out here. So it's really nice.
I want to be part. It seems to me like it's exciting to be part of that group. Okay. And according to, or the question from Jocelyn, is there an ideal ratio of moderators to active members or posts?
Yeah, so that all, how did we measure it? We measured it based off of posts. So we figured out that we have a range in where that number falls. So like in our communities, we have, I think over 30 now, because I just launched like 8 this month. We have like over 30 individual communities run similar to like Facebook's. And we have found that the amount of posts is where we look and the amount of comments. And that all kind of divides the amount that we have. So for like our bisexual community, we get over 150 to 200 posts a day. So that is going to be one of our biggest teams, where our beauty and fashion community probably gets like 25 to 30 posts a day. So with bisexual, I'll have like 8 people moderating, but in beauty and fashion, I'll have like 3. And that's kind of how we measure based off of that.
Great. And we have a lot of questions here, but we only have like a 1 minute left. So we're going down to just one question, last question. What's your grace period for moderators? Do you lock them in for a certain period of time and evaluate?
Yeah, so I evaluate my moderators on a monthly basis. I'll check to see how they're doing week on week, but overall, I will look at them on a monthly basis. They stay as long as they like, as long as they're continuing to do great things. Like I said, I've had some of my moderators, I think I have like 15 of them that have been with me 3+ years. And I love them to pieces. And so that's all. And sometimes it does ebb and flow where they may have to drop off for a month or two because life. If you're going to be with me for 3 years, like, yeah, go take a break. You're volunteering. What can I do? And so you just make sure that you have a supportive team that's able to kind of like take over for them and be able to help them. And then when they're ready to come back, like they have open communication with me. Like I have a couple moderators who had to leave for personal reasons. And then they reached back out to me a few months later and said, hey, I'm ready to come back. Please let me know if I have space. If not, I totally understand. And they've been able to come back. So it's really cool to see that space. I didn't have time to like put my retention numbers in here, but yeah, that's kind of where that lives. So yeah.
All right, that was very amazing. And if people wants to ask you some questions, where can they reach you?
Yeah, I'll still be at the conference like all day. So feel free to hit me in the DMs. But if you want to see me long term, I love a LinkedIn message. I love Twitter as well. I'm at Shana has a Twitter on Twitter. And then LinkedIn, I'm the only Shana Summers with one M on there. So
Yeah.
very easy.
I agree. All right, so thank you very much for your time today, Shayna, and we appreciate your very awesome presentation, valuable, and thank you for being here at CMX Summit 2020.
Thank you.